Hello sir, my name is Ashikur Rahman and my ID number is 191152469. Welcome to my presentation. The topic of my presentation is about inference. So let's go to the screen and talk about it in detail. In order to learn inference, we must have the knowledge about argument. What is argument? In mathematics, argument is a sequence of proposition called premises followed by another proposition called conclusion. What is a valid argument? A valid argument is one that if all its premises are true, then the conclusion is true. So now let's talk about an example. Give an example: if it rains, I drive to school. This is premises number 1. It rains, this is premises number 2. So we have the conclusion that I drive to school. So in this way, valid arguments are constructed. Now, how can we construct valid argument form? Premises are presented by P1, P2 and so on. Conclusion have to be presented by capital Q. So we may write like P1, P2, Pn and the conclusion after that. The symbol here is called therefore. Now, how to write proposition in symbolic logic form? So here give an example of proposition which is all men are mortal, Socrates is a man, therefore Socrates is mortal. We may take P1 as all men are mortal, P2 as Socrates is a man, so the conclusion is Socrates is mortal. And we may write like this. So how to test an argument is valid? So there are few steps to consider. First of all, identify the premises and the conclusion. Second, draw a truth table for all the premises and conclusion. Third, focus on those entries for which the premises are true. And fourth, the truth table of the conclusion follows from the truth of all its premises. Let's check this argument is valid or not. Here P1 P implication Q and P2 P is premises and Q is the conclusion. Let's draw the truth table. So here for the P true true false false, for Q true false true false, and P implication Q true true which is true, true false which is false, false true which is true, false false which is true, and P2 is P. So we just copy this, true true false false, and Q is the conclusion for which is true false true false. In order to find out if the argument is valid or not, we have to look at the premises. If the truth value of all the premises is true, then the conclusion have to be true. Here we can see in this table that the first conclusion is true, the second also true, and the conclusion is also true. And most on all the three cases, we can see that the premises is false, so it might be false. So that's not an issue. Here it is true and it is false and it is true. That's not an issue. The main rule we need to fill up that if the two premises are true, then the conclusion have to be true. That's all. So this truth table satisfy the rule, so we can say that this argument is valid. Now let's check another argument if it is valid or not. So the premises is P implication Q and the another premises is Q implication P, so we just put it like this in the truth table. The premises 1 which is P implication Q, we find out for this true true is true, true false is false, false true is true, false false is true. For the premises 2 Q implication P, we find out true true which is true, false true which is also true, true false which is false, and false false which is true. Now the conclusion, here the conclusion is P or Q. So for true true it is true, for true false it is also true, for false true it is also true, but for false false it is false. Now the main rule is if the both premises is true, then the conclusion have to be true. So here at the first row we can see for both premises is true, so the conclusion is true. And the second part we don't need to consider because this premises is not true. Here also the premises true is not true, but in the last row we can see that the first premises is true and the second premise is also true, but the conclusion is not true, which is against the rule of the valid argument. So we can say that this argument is not valid. Now let's talk about syllogism. What is syllogism? A syllogism is an argument which has exactly two premises. The first premises is called major premises and the second premises is called minor premises. Two special type of syllogism is modus ponens and modus tenens. And there are many more syllogism like hypothetical syllogism, disjunctive syllogism, addition, simplification, conjunction, and so on. So that's all about my presentation in inference. Thank you very much.